I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to wet the page, I'm going to wet the sky, but I'm also going to wet the water, but I'm going to leave a few gaps. So I've got some nice clean water and go across in horizontal strokes. That's a sky, no puddles, but a nice sheen. And then for the water, I'm going to still do horizontal, but I'm going to leave a few gaps just so I got a little bit where I can do the dry brushing. A little bit more water there. If it's very warm where you are, you might need to re-wet your water before we start on that. But so with my Payne's Grey, which I'm using, oh no, raw sienna. So with the raw sienna, I'm going to put a streak along that line there, and also into the water a bit. Not too much, just a little bit. That's quite bright, but that will dry lighter. Then I'm going to go and get some Payne's Grey, and at the top a line, and I want to encourage that to come down a bit. So I'm going to move that out of the way, move these brushes and lift up my board. And we've gone very, very right. I'm going to stop recording. Ooh. I've put in Payne's Grey at the top. I'm now just cleaning up the sides, and I've got a blue line there, so that's going to have to be cropped. It's seeped under my masking tape. So I've cleaned it off of the masking tape in case I accidentally put my hand on it and then put my hand onto the picture. So we're going to leave that to dry a little. In the meantime, or whilst it's drying a little, I'm just going to put in some of the bushes that go at the back. Here we go. These here, they need to go in whilst it's still wet. And then we'll stop and we'll have a catch up. So I'm just using Payne's Grey and just going along that horizon line that we drew earlier. I'm still make it uneven and try not to go below that horizon line, which I just have. I'm just going to get a clean damp brush and just lift it off. It won't hurt. That's it. It's hedgerow. You can put a couple of trees in it. It's just a hedgerow, and I'm just making it lighter in some places by using a clean damp brush just to lift off some of the paint. I just do it there so it's clean and damp, and I just give it a poke. very technical term, that. And you can see that it just changes the colour slightly in patches, which is how it would be. Although we're not going for realism, we want it to look credible, I think. Yeah, we've got. So I'm now going to stop and let you catch up. Now that that's dry, I'm going to use a little bit of dry brushing, and I'm using this big brush, and I really don't want it to have a lot of water, so I'm just dabbing it on a tissue, paint and dab, and I'm just pulling it gently across, and it should just graze the paper in places and leave some paint, but there should be lots of little bits of sparkle. So it's just, I'm also going a bit over the raw sienna that we put in. That's it. It is sparkly. Put a bit of the blue up there so that it doesn't look as if it's in bands. And a bit through there. I think that will probably do for the water. I'm going to do these grasses at the side of the on the right corner. So that's Payne's Grey on my rigger. I'm going to start my grasses off by on the masking tape so that it looks as if they're not actually growing there, they're just in the picture. So just waft some grasses. Decide which way your wind is blowing. So as I say, they're started off on the masking tape. Do them to about 1/3 along. Do some short ones and some really quite long ones. I've gone up quite high on there, coming off from the side, just to give it a bit of variety. Now just look, this, I've got a very distinct line there, so I've got a little bit of, I've got a clean damp brush and just blending it in a bit. I don't want a hard line in some of the places, so just have a look at what you've got, and if you've got a hard line somewhere, just blend it in. You can also get a bit of tissue and just where you've been with your brush, just pull it across, and that just lifts a bit. And then, but do it when you do it again, get a clean bit of tissue. I've got a hard line there. So it's just blending it really so that it doesn't look so strange. That's it, I think. So I'm going to stop and let you catch up. So we let everything dry really, really well. And with neat Payne's Grey on a rigger, I'm going to do the poles. Hopefully that corner's dry because I'm going to put my hand on there. So I'm going to start off, I should really start off this side, I guess, with the poles, and nice, I should say nice long strokes really, but I just didn't then. So long stroke into the water. Do as many poles or as few poles as you wish. I won't be prescriptive about poles. Are these a bit bigger? And that one's closer to us. It's a bit bigger. It's not quite as close. And I need to do the reflection of these poles. So starting right at the bottom of the pole, do a broken line, wiggly broken line. Right at the bottom of the pole, wiggle it. These two front ones go into these weeds, two that we've done there, the reflection. So at the bottom, wiggle it, wiggly broken line. If you've got an angle on your pole, don't forget to do your wiggly broken line at an angle. Whoops, start at the bottom. And then what's left is the bird on the top. He's in silhouette. Go round him very carefully. He's got quite a pronounced shoulder there, and he comes round. Basically, I'm just blocking him in. Comes round there like that. Got to be careful to keep his shape of his head, and then carry on with the pole down. This one I've got is absolutely dead vertical. And I actually measured it, which sounds strange, but I'm not very good at getting things vertical or horizontally level either. And we've got some reflections coming from the bottom and wiggling into those grasses. And the grasses should be going over the wiggly lines. So I'm just touching those up slightly. We've got reflections of everything, yeah. So the last thing is to put some birds in. So I'm just going to put some birds in down in the water, just above the water. So I start with neat Payne's grey, and I do a lopsided, a curved triangle, I think is that's one bit of him. And then across the other side, half a triangle. And then his reflection not coming from the bird, because it's not sitting on the water. So it follows that curve round. So it's curving round that way. So my reflection's got to come around that way. And then it's got a bit there which doesn't reach that half a wing there. My reflection is coming from my bird. He must be very close to the water, but he shouldn't be. The other one that we do is the big winged chappie. So I pull a curve down. He's got a little bit of thickness at the top. We leave a tiny gap, and then the other wing is not at the same angle at all, and it's shorter. I'm going to go with the same reflections, and I'm going to do this one properly and not start it at the bird because he's above the water. And you follow that. If that wing's going there, his reflection in little strokes comes that way, so it mirrors him. You can still do the same shapes. Well, you can do this one here up in the sky as well. So I do a triangle, a curved triangle, and a little wing there. That's the wings up. And basically it's the opposite to that. And that's the wings down. No, that's the wings down, that's the wings up. And then there's another one, another shape, which is that way. So the curve is down the bottom, and that's the straight, and then he's just got a triangle there. So that's with the wings right up. So we've got birds everywhere, and of course you can always do the little birds by the trees across the way there, because they're going home to roost. So little ones this time. They're all across the water. And the last thing is some white, just to put on the tops of the poles. Just, they're not like a snow, it's just a touch. Not obviously on that one, just a touch. And then with a clean damp brush, I'm just going to blend that in a tiny bit. Just so that it doesn't look like snow. It helps to show the poles up against the background. And I'm just going to do a few seed heads on my on my grasses. This is what is technically known as faffing. Don't want too many. And I think more birds than normal. I think that's it.